Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate you checking in. At this point in time, you might have seen a message from myself to all of our members letting us know about the separation of the association to a board of directors strictly for the MLS. And so we've been getting a couple of questions, so we wanted to put that together and kind of answer some of these questions so that people will have some more information. With me today is Keith Jones. Keith, how are you?
Great. How are you, Gilbert?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Keith is the current COO of MLS Operations. Thank you for being a part of this, and you've kind of helped us with this restructure and everything. So first question is, will this MLS have its own board of directors? And we've said yes, but can you talk a little bit about the why we want this MLS to have its own board of directors?
Sure. So I think what we have researched and really thought about is being able to work in a focused effort. I think the current board of directors does a great job of doing both association work and MLS work, but it's a lot of work to do. And sometimes you do see competing interests in trying to work on specific tasks and things, and it takes a lot of time and energy. So we've found that having focused effort from that board working on the two different things will create some efficiencies in getting things done.
Now, is this something that other associations with their own MLS have done already? Is this a trend? Talk a little bit about our family here in Texas, right? Like Houston has had this for a while. Austin has had a separate board of directors as well for a while.
Right. I would say it is trending over the long term in the broader scope of the industry. You see a lot of decoupling of MLS and the operations of the MLS away from the association. And again, you had mentioned Houston. They do it. They have a separate board of directors. Austin over with Unlock MLS, they have it separated as well. There's a little bit different, but everybody's trending that way.
Everyone has yes, you're right. Like some people have a different structure on it as opposed to how we intend to structure it. But I think some people are questioning, well, who's going to serve on this board? It is still going to be Realtor member subscribers who are going to serve on the board.
Correct. Yeah, it's still from the subscriber base, and so there's still prerequisites and qualifications that you have to be, an active subscriber. You still have to practice and understand the business that we do.
Correct.
So
yes.
There are some pre-qualifications.
It's not like just anyone can be a member
right.
of that who gets to serve in that leadership role.
Indeed.
And I think some of the time people are curious about, well, we're creating this new separation. But the fact is, back in 2020, we actually created a whole separate entity. There's already been a separate MLS, if you will, which is going to lead me to the next question. But it's always been managed by one board of directors. We've always had this two kind of things on paper. But now we're just saying, you know what, that MLS is sufficient that it needs to have a separate governance structure for it. And you can notice this with bills, right? Like, so some people are saying, like, how many am I going to get separate bills now? And what would you say to that question?
I would say you've already been getting separate bills. We've had, from a back end perspective in our AMS, we've had those separated out since I've been running the operations. You get an MLS bill or fees quarterly, and those association dues are annual. So you already see that.
So like everything you get during the year after you pay your dues, that's an MLS fee.
Correct.
And dues is once a year. Yeah. Right. Okay. And then time frame. So when people are asking, like, when is this happening? Now, for us, and I think for the board of directors, this has been a part of the conversation for a while. But tell us a little bit about when our members can expect to see this come to fruition.
Sure. So we're definitely this year. We have made some decisions at the board of directors within the past few months. We will make some in the next few months to further solidify it. And within the coming probably 60 to 90 days, we'll start to see steps into the further separation of the MLS operations.
Okay. Is there another why that you would give our members as far as why we're doing it? I think some people ask, well, is this going to help us grow as an MLS?
Yes. I mean, believe the research that we have done and a lot of the back end work kind of leads to this decision. I mean, obviously there are legal reasons in some of the lawsuits. I think.
Talk about those legal reasons, because I think that is a paramount reason as well, right?
Yeah. There has been close ties between MLS operations and the association, and that leaves some exposure at the association level. And obviously, we see that with the lawsuits that have kind of risen last year into this year. And then, we've done some research to go back and look and really decide, how do we separate and protect the association from that liability and that risk?
We saw that other associations that did not have an MLS tied to them were in a better position than us, which is completely tied. Right. So as a risk reduction strategy, it made sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one reason. I think another reason is the growth strategy. We look at, there have been opportunities kind of soft floated to us over time with other associations and with other MLSs, but there's always been these hurdles of governance and revenue. And I think those were two major hurdles. And we tried to go out and do some research across the nation to others who have already done this to say, well, how did you overcome those hurdles in this consolidation effort? And what did you do? And we took those, came back in and said, all right, we think we have solved the problem with having a arm's length revenue stream for the association to make sure that they can stay viable and still give them a say in the governing of that body.
And since you jumped into funding, I think some people have said, well, how is the association going to get funded as part of this separation? Like, does this mean the association is out on its own?
No, absolutely not. I think we've definitely considered that. That was part of the research we did and what we looked at. And there are others already doing this. So we're not inventing the wheel here. Right. Others across the country have already gone through this experiment, done this probably over the last few decades. So it's proven models. We've kind of set this up so we would have profit distributions go back to, for lack of a better term, shareholder associations to keep them viable. Now, maybe it's not as much as what a revenue stream is they see today, but we're able to offset some of those operational costs as well by absorbing those costs. So it's proportionate. It is sustainable.
And what I'll add is the association has always done a really good job making sure that expenses were always covered with association revenue. The association has done a fantastic job saying like it can sustain itself even without the revenue of the MLS. And I'm really proud that our leadership has helped us to get to that. Now, I think others are going to say, some of these other questions are, well, does a broker have to subscribe to the MLS for an agent's that they sponsor to trek to be a subscriber? Like, these are a little bit more of the technical questions that we're getting. I know the answer is yes, but can you elaborate on that?
Yes. They would have to subscribe to be a participant in the MLS, and then their agents under them. It's just kind of the way everything is structured. You obviously want to be part of that because the listings are subject to ownership of the broker, kind of the way everything is structured. So that would flow down and be part of that responsibility. So they would have to be part of the MLS as well.
Okay. Now, one of the other question is this, will there be other data shares with other MLSs as part of this?
So we hope that we can curb data shares in general. I think data shares are strategic and they make sense in good partnerships, but they're not always the right answer. We see that on a much larger scale now. Some people get overzealous with data shares, and it doesn't always make good business sense to do data shares exclusively. I think you have to couple those in right pairing solutions.
Yeah. And I think that right now, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but our subscribers get 60% of the listings in the state of Texas through our data shares with Austin and Houston. And obviously, data shares do cost money in order to get done, but there's a value to them. So we've obviously been working with strategic partners in order to get the most amount of information to all of our members. And I'm going to transition to us to something a little bit comparable that we talked about at the broker manager meeting. So we're talking about the separation of the MLS from the association. And I think some people have said this is a change in the way we're allowing subscribers to enter into the MLS. And I want to say no, right? Like the board of directors has already contemplated the decision of allowing non-realtor subscribers into the MLS, right? Like that decision was made. It's going to be rolled out towards the end of the year, and way more information is going to come then. But the MLS separation with the board governance is strictly about structure efficiencies. However, just to make sure that people know, non-realtor access does not necessarily mean a FSBO can now go into the MLS. Can you elaborate?
Sure. Yeah. And we heard this quite often in that broker manager meeting. There were all kind of scenarios thrown at us, but the reality is, you still have to be a licensed professional. So you still have to be licensed by the state. And we also have the rule set in place, right? So everybody still has to abide by the MLS rules that are in place. And the rules state that you have to participate in the buying and selling of real estate in order to participate in the MLS or be a subscriber to the MLS. So there's still rule sets that we have to abide by, even though we've opened it to non-realtor subscribers.
Okay. All right. Keith, I really want to thank you for taking time. I think we wanted to do an efficient kind of conversation for our volunteers and for our subscribers to go ahead and catch them up on some of the things that we've been working on. So thank you very much. And we look forward to additional information we can bring on to our subscribers. And there's definitely a lot of things coming down that we're super excited about that we want to come to fruition. So I appreciate your hard work to helping us get there.
Thanks for having me.